Today, I'm going to talk to you about one of my most favorite tools on Family Search, and that is the Family Search Wiki. I think that it's one of the tools that we don't utilize. It's one of the things that we don't, sometimes we don't know about, and it is one of my most favorite tools. And so I think it's beneficial for people who are beginning researching, and it's even beneficial for those of us who are a little more seasoned researchers, because sometimes we forget what's available to us and how to use them. So I'm just going to give you a short little tutorial of how to access the different treasures, their treasures on Wiki. So I'm going to share my screen really quickly, and we will start by showing you how to find the wiki. So at the top of Family Search, you've got the different tabs, and we want to scroll over to the Search tab. And on the Search tab, we click down. At the very bottom is Research Wiki. Click on that, and then this wonderful map is going to show up. And just to keep simple, we're just going to stay in North America and go into the United States. So we click on North America, we come down to the United States, and then I'm going to click on Tennessee. I'm going to go ahead and pick a state. And one of the reasons I'm picking Tennessee is because I want you guys to realize kind of the difference between some of these states that have been around for a long time as opposed to some of the ones that are newer. So we're going to talk about Tennessee because, as you can see, Tennessee's been a state since 1796. And so there's going to be older records, there's going to be a few more things available, and just a little bit more for me to show you on this page. And if you were to go to like Pennsylvania or even Rhode Island and all those other states, there would be even more to access. But so the initial page of Tennessee shows us a little bit of history, some information about Tennessee. And then in this section right here, it talks about getting started. And I'm not going to talk a lot about that because, like I said, tomorrow we're going to talk a little bit more about the guided research. And then over here we have a few more research tools, but these research tools will also show up on the wiki as we're moving through the different pages on the states that we're researching, or even the countries. These two buttons right here are kind of like magic, but we're going to come back to those after I show you this entire first page of the homepage of Tennessee. Down below, we have a clickable map, and I love this because this map will take you to the county, if you know like the location of the county, or even you can either click on the county by location, like we could click on Lincoln County here, or we can go down and click on Lincoln County here. And we'll access that in a few minutes. Then it just goes on to show us some different things about if any of the counties that might be extinct that no longer exist, or if they were renamed. It gives us that information. It gives us different migration routes that were in Tennessee, and then some additional resources for Family Search, or that are in Family Search, and then some additional outside resources when researching Tennessee. Let's go back up here really quickly before I go further into the Tennessee page. This information on the right-hand side is some of my favorite, because you've got beginning research, where once again it talks about how to find records, some different research strategy in Tennessee. But then this record types is kind of a gold mine, because if you're specifically looking for things like maybe you're specifically looking for a birth record, you could click on vital records down here at the bottom, or maybe you're looking for a military record, then you would go up to the top, up to military records. And so these would take you to specific records available in Tennessee. Now over here, these little buttons I told you I'd tell you about later, because I'm not gonna spend a lot of time on the Ask Community button, I'm just gonna show you really quickly. So you can click on the Ask Community button, and it takes you to a place where you can find Family Search genealogical research groups. So in order to find Tennessee, you would scroll all the way down, because it goes to countries. And after you get through all the countries, sorry, I'm going to go kind of fast. you're going to come to, where's that? North America. So here we're in North America, and then you would just scroll down to the bottom to Tennessee, and then it tells you right here. So you've got a United States Genealogical Research Group. These are on Facebook, and then there's the US South Genealogical, excuse me about that, research community, and then there's also Tennessee Genealogical Network, and on and on. There's all these different, there's some different county things. And all of these are ways that you can, if you scroll back up, these are different Facebook family search community groups that you're able to access. And so here on these, you're able to ask questions and to get help in your location that you're searching for. So that's what's in the purple button. Let's go back. So the blue button, I love the blue button. Okay, so the blue button is going to give you all the Tennessee records that are available online that Family Search knows about. Okay, so as we look here, you'll see anything that has a $sign is going to indicate that it's usually a web page you have to pay for. So like ancestry.com or MyHeritage or any of those like that. If they don't have that, then usually the records are available through Family Search. But this shows you all the records. So they just go in order. So you've got vital. On the left-hand side, we've got birth, marriage, death. We've got divorce. And then it goes into like African-American research, Bibles, bibliographies, cemeteries, and on and on. It goes all into all the records that you can find for Tennessee. And if you saw on the left, military records, their military records are going to be abundant because of, especially because of the Civil War. There's a ton of Civil War records and all the military records that are there. Anyway, so these are the records that Family Search knows that you are able to access online. Now, here's the gold mine of these records. So let's go back to the Tennessee page. And by doing that, to do that, just go over and click back on Tennessee. Now, let's say that your ancestor lived in Lincoln County, Tennessee. Okay, so you would scroll down to the map, and you can either use the map or you could use the little county names underneath, and you would click on, let's do Lincoln County. Click on Lincoln County, and it's going to give you all the information about Lincoln County. So it's telling us, first of all, where Lincoln County, where it got its name. It tells us about the courthouse, how we can get a hold of people at the courthouse. It tells us what the county clerk has available. And then if we go down farther, it tells us what kind of major records that the county has and when they started to start keeping them. Now, if you see it says birth, 1881, death, 1881, marriage, 1834, but then there's a little asterisk by birth and death, and it says statewide registrations for birth and death began in 1914, but general compliance wasn't until 1927. So we know that those records are going to be sporadic, and we're going to have to look for, probably different ways to verify birth records. And then if you look farther down, it's going to tell us what records were lost for that county. So it says that there's a lack of marriage records from 1809 to 1837. And then it gives us some different kinds of research to talk about counties that had burned records or records that are gone. And then there's another access on the wiki that tells us what we need to do if we have a county that has burned records and how we can research with those without having access to those records. Also, it talks about boundary changes. So it shows that in 1809 that Lincoln County was created, and it was originally part of Bedford County. So we would know that if we were originally researching in Lincoln County and we wanted to go farther back, we might have to go to Bedford County to look farther back for our ancestors. If we go farther down, it just shows us the cities and the towns, some of the communities that are around that area that maybe are smaller and don't have a lot of records or access. And just some more, I love that it has some more history. There's some timelines, tells why, how the county got its name, Bible records, some bibliographies for the county, and just so many. There's cemeteries, census records, and if you look, it tells us that like census records that were lost and how to substitute for those census records that were lost. I love this. It gives us all access and explanations to those records. Church records. Here's some indexes for some books that will help us. And then it starts to give us a list of all the different kinds of congregations in Lincoln County. Court records. There's directories, immigration, anyway, on and on. Just anything that we would want to access and learn about in this county. Let's see. I just love this. If you look also, I love this map right here because it tells us, it shows us, here's Lincoln County, but it shows us how right across Lincoln County is right across the border from Madison, Alabama. So it shows us all the adjoining counties that we might be able to actually go and research more. It's very common for our ancestors to have lived in different counties, especially when they're that close together. And in this case, even a different state. There's just so much to access. I love this. Here's the newspaper records and on and on. Okay, so I'm going to click back up here and we are going to go back over to Tennessee really quickly. And so I'm just going to click back to the Tennessee button. If you look really quickly right here, I'm going to go on the census records. So if we go just strictly to the census record, it's going to tell us what's available. So I think this is just so wonderful because you can click on, say you want to find your ancestor, excuse me, in the 1840 census. Well, right here it has available a link to Family Search and to Ancestry.com to that 1840 census in Tennessee. And same with all the other years. And then it will tell us what other census records are available. So Tennessee's kind of unique, especially because it's an older state, but we've got veterans, mortality, industrial. There's all these different types of census records available on Ancestry.com. And then it tells us, here's a list of existing and lost federal censuses for Tennessee. Again, that. Then if we look down here, online state and territorial censuses. Well, there isn't any. Where are they? Well, if you look down, it says right here, Tennessee did not take state censuses. So right there, it saves you time. You're not going to go looking for state censuses because it tells you right there that there aren't any. And so that's how kind of the unique way to be able to maneuver to the different records. And again, there you are on the right-hand side. You can just click over to any record. Excuse me. So if you go over to, let's just do one more, maybe military. Military, I think, is going to give us a lot because of the Civil War and the Civil War being fought in parts of Tennessee. But here we go again, just a ton of different online resources, military records. I love how it's all just divided and gives you access to where you're wanting to look. And anyway, so that's how you would maneuver. And this is just, I would just encourage you just to go play with it and see what is available in the area you want to research. Okay, so I want to show you the difference between a state that's old and a state that's new. So if we click back to the United States, so I'm an Idaho girl, so we're going to go to Idaho because I know that Idaho is very young. So compared to Tennessee, that was so old, we go to Idaho, and Idaho, oh, up there, it's only been a state since 1890. So over 100 years younger than Tennessee. And so if we go down to Idaho, it's going to look the same. It's got the counties and all of those things. But let's go to the online records and look and see what's available. And I'm going to show you. All right, are you working? Double click. Okay, so it's telling us that their earliest birth records are 1856. And that's just an index only. Well, I'm going to tell you that I know for a fact that these are not that they're not that good. And if we were to click on the Idaho Index records, it's going to also tell us, if we look down here, let's go look at this collection a little bit more. It's going to tell us that okay, right here. It's saying that this collection is an index from 1856 to 1965, excuse me. This index is not complete and for particular place, region, or time period. So we have to go, and if you look, it'll also tell us where the coverage is. So this is like for Canyon County, or there's 0. Where for Ada County is where Boise, if you're familiar with Idaho, Boise is the biggest city. And so that's quite a few births. So that's kind of encouraging. But if you look on the side, since I know that there's not a very good, that this index is not going to give me very good research. If you look on the side, it's telling us where we can go to find more. So it's giving us the Idaho guided research, but then there's also all these church records, vital records, the Idaho Archives Library, and the Family Search Library Catalog. So I want to encourage you, if you go into this index and you can't find something that you're looking for, then look and see what else the other resources they have. Because I know, because I've done research in Idaho, that at this Idaho Archive Library, they have a notebook where someone has taken the time to glean births out of newspapers. And so that gives us a way better access to birth records in Idaho than this index even begins to give us. And so that's something that I want you to do, is make sure that if you're not finding it, that you do go back and look and see what other resources are available. Okay, so let's just look at Idaho really quickly, just a little bit more, because I want to point out, they've got all the vitals, marriage, birth, death. They've got a little bit, but there's a significant difference between the Civil War records for Idaho than there is for the Civil War records for Tennessee. And a lot of that is because a lot of the Civil War things that are people that would be in Idaho are people that probably came to Idaho after the Civil War. And so there's not as many people who, like there are people in Tennessee that were actually living in Tennessee during the Civil War. Anyway, just the same kind of records are available for Idaho. They're just not as old and not as new. I will tell you that one of the funnest online records for Idaho and in the West are these Western State Marriage Indexes. They've been done very well, and there's some pretty good marriage records if you're looking for people in the West. Anyway, so this is just a basic preview of what the wiki has to offer. Honest and truly, there's so much to see, so much to find. So I'd encourage you that if you're looking for someone in a specific area, a specific country or state or even county, then go there and access that area and see what is available. And I think you will be so surprised. When I learned about the wiki, I felt like it was the best kept secret. And it's always the first place I go when I begin my research. And even before I begin trying to decide if I'm going to be able to find anything about the person, I will go to the wiki and find out what's available. All right, so I just want to encourage you to go and check out the wiki. You're going to love it. I think it is one of the best kept secrets on Family Search, and I think that you will be amazed at the things you're going to learn and the things that you're going to find. And make sure that you tune in tomorrow as Megan talks to us about guided research, because I think that will really benefit your research efforts on the wiki also. Have a great day.